Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about a new antenna that we're very proud of. It is a dual band Yagi Cantenna. So this is the first of its kind, very directional, and it's capable of working on 2.4 and 5 gigahertz spectrums on one cable. So this is really unique in the sense that you can just plug this into any dual band capable radio being a USB adapter or a Netgear router, Asus routers. All the new high-end routers all have detachable antennas, and each port on that router is dual band capable. So that means it's also an AC capable antenna. So it is doing 802.11 BGN, A, and AC, and it is doing N on 2.4 and 5. So depending on the different frequencies and the protocols, obviously if you set everything to the default, it's going to use A and AC, and N on the 2.4, but AC on the 5 gig. So let's go through this antenna. Let's talk about it. It is made in the USA. We make these in our factory in Miami, Florida, and the price point right now is $149, and it comes in a black, white, or what we call silver or gray, or clear. This kind of different terminology that we've been using out there, but for the most part it's the one that's a see-through. Very popular color choice just because you can see all the interesting components inside. So let's jump into that. What's unique about this antenna? Like I said, it's one cable feed. So we've got a diplexer back here that's feeding a 5 gigahertz Yagi that we've put right next to the old 2.4. So if you're familiar with our popular Yagi Cantenna we've been selling for years, it is this 2.4 element in here, okay, that we metal stamped and we assemble here. What we did was run that through a diplexer, and now we have our 5 gigahertz right next to it. So it's very compact, and the reason why this 5 gigahertz antenna is so much smaller is because it's a smaller wavelength. So you don't need to, the physics just don't need it to be that big. It won't work if the antenna is as big as these spacings here. So that's why the 5 gigahertz can fit so small and within the same tube as our old 2.4. So here's a better shot of the diplexer. The cable's coming down, and here is joining and being met by this coax cable that's 3 feet long, and will feed, like I said, into USB adapters and routers. So to touch on cable connections, this is standard so that it works with all the USB adapters and routers in the Wi-Fi world. If your router or USB adapter has a connector that looks like this is SMA female RP. So you want to see a gold connector. Usually it's a lot smaller than other connectors in the Wi-Fi world. These are indoor Wi-Fi connectors. And the most important part is threads and then the pin. The pin is what makes it RP, reverse polarity. But you want threads with a pin on your radio device. The antenna will accept the thread, so the threads are inside the connector and there's no pin. So the pin is obviously now on the female side. So this is a male SMA reverse polarity, so reverse pin. Think of it like that. So here's a picture of it on a Netgear router. Like I said, the high-end routers, you can detach the antenna and connect the cable right to it. And it makes for a nice centerpiece at home. And this is what it looks like when it's on a USB adapter. So this is the 36ACH, I believe, from Alpha. That's a dual band antenna, and it has 2 antenna ports. So you can just take one off and point this antenna in the direction where you want to receive a signal from. So let's jump into the radiation pattern. So like I've said in other videos, Simple Wi-Fi is part of Antenna World, which is also an antenna design lab. So we do all of our own antenna testing. Here's actually some pictures of the Yagi inside the test chamber. What we do is we put this on a pole and then spin it around to get these radiation patterns. So we run it on different frequencies. Being that it's a dual band antenna, we run 2 tests, one for the 5.7 and one for 2.4, which I'm showing here. So let's talk about 2.4 first. 32 degrees. So this is a directional antenna. So you'll see that even though directional antennas have some what's called near field radiation, this is spilling signal in the nearby area. Uh, this is still shooting very far in one direction, and the directionality is dependent on the gain, and the gain has a correlation to uh, the spread of the gain. So 14 dBi, 14.3 or so, and it has a 32-degree spread on the 2.4. So 32 degrees is the furthest right here before it starts, the gain starts to come down. Okay, where the pattern starts to kind of reach out. 32 degrees is the widest, furthest reaching point. If you're here, this might be, let's say, just 100 meters, right? And this is 5 or 800 or 1,000 meters, 1 kilometer away. You will still get some signal in the near field area, but it won't be as good as being in here, as being in the direction where the antenna is pointing. Now, on the 5 gig, we're still getting a 35-degree spread, so it's about a little bit less than 14 degrees wide, very directional, but it's not as pretty. And you can see that this globe, and this is a little bit more choppy here. This is because the 5 gigahertz antenna is so close to the 2.4, like I showed you over here. This antenna being so close to that is kind of affecting the radiation, but it's still very, very, very good, very directional for being on a single feed line and being right next to the Yagi. So we're getting 14 on average, 14 dBi on both bands, very directional. You will only notice this if you're looking at the radiation plots, where you see this kind of choppiness and the near field's a little bigger here than over here. This is all because it's right next to that 2.4, which is sitting right here. But 5 gigahertz in one direction, very, very far reaching. So like I said, we put this on a rotator here. We send the signal from the end of the chamber, and then we get these radiation points. It does a complete 360 around this, and what this room does is it cancels out all outside radiation signals, so cell phones, noise, anything at all. It just completely silences every RF that's in the area, so that we can test exactly what's going on here. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, of course, reach out at simplewifi.com or give us a call. One of our agents will be happy to help you. Thanks.